Story 1. Am I the a-hole for snapping at my nephew because he ate my daughter's food? Here's what happened. So, my 6-year-old daughter is a very picky eater. Not in the sense that she will pout and whine if she doesn't like what's on her plate, but more like she actually throws up and has something resembling a mini panic attack. Because of that, whenever we have our weekly dinners with my husband's side of the family, my mother-in-law will make a separate dish for my daughter that she knows she will like. My daughter hates most spices, so most of the time no one else likes her food, so there's no need to make it a dish for everyone. 2 days ago, we had our dinner, and we're running a little late because it was a bad day for my daughter, and we were both irritated at that point. When we got there, I saw my 15-year-old nephew eating my daughter's food. I knew it was hers since she was having a completely different dish than everyone else. And my mother-in-law had told me what it was and sent me a picture to show my daughter since it was a new recipe she was trying. My daughter also saw it and started bawling. It was a tough day for her already, and I guess this was what finally broke her. Everyone came running into the kitchen to see what was happening, and when my sister-in-law saw what her son was doing, she immediately scolded him, but the damage was done. I gave my daughter to my husband and asked to wait for me in the car. Once they left, I snapped at my nephew that just because his parents never taught him to shut his mouth for a little while doesn't mean he can just eat whatever he wants. He knew how she is about food, and he still chose to eat it. I gave my sister-in-law a hard look and left. Everyone had been bombing the family group chat, fighting over who was in the wrong. I see it coming up a lot. By my sister-in-law scolding my nephew, I meant that she pointed at my daughter's food, told him not to do that next time since it's his cousin's food, and lightly slapped his wrist like he's a 5-year-old. Also, my daughter's food was on the other end of the counter, so no one could get confused. Am I the a-hole? What do you guys think? Story 2. Am I the a-hole for saying to my parents that I won't give up my career and look after my brother once they've gone? Here's what happened. Last week, my parents phoned me asking me to come down the Friday just gone as they want to talk to me about something important, and they'd prefer to do it face-to-face. I agreed and came down Friday, and we talked. My parents said that they've been delaying doing their wills for so long and decided it's finally time to get their affairs in order. I have a brother who's older than me, but he's autistic, and I don't know if nonverbal is the right word, as he can only say a few words like mom and dad, and though he's 26, it's more like he's a 10-year-old, if that makes sense. My parents told me they've got some sort of plan to go into the will, and they've said their plan is if one of them were to die first, then my brother will live with the lone parent part-time and a care home assisted facility part-time to give the lone parent a break. Then, if the lone parent dies, the plan is for my brother to come and live with me, and they will set some sort of trust up so that each month whatever he inherits goes into living costs. For example, if he inherited $100,000, not the actual amount, a trust would have been set up and $1,000 comes out each month to cover his living costs. Why I said my brother has the mind of a 10-year-old is because he can't do anything without the help of our parents, like getting him dressed, cleaned, and ready, and helping him with tasks and activities. My family members take turns at the weekend to have him so my parents can have a break to relax and recuperate. I know it's wrong of me, and I shouldn't be, but I'm not an emotional person, and I'm not sympathetic as well. I said to my parents that I'm not giving up my career to look after him, and when they both die, I won't be taking him in. My brother and his sibling relationship is non-existent, and I also don't feel equipped to look after him. I am an honest person and will say that to me, he would feel like a massive burden. I voiced my reasoning to my parents, and I thought they would be more understanding. I basically feel he's better off in a place where people could actually help him and know what they're doing. I'm just not prepared to give up my career or anything for him. I also stated to my parents I was more than happy to give up my half of the inheritance so the money could go on making sure he's looked after, like setting up a trust fund so if they died and he went into an assisted living facility, his bills are paid and there's an allowance for him each month. My parents are completely upset with me and are disappointed in me for this. I feel justified, but now I'm wondering if I've been a total idiot and a jerk when it comes to this. What do you think? Story 3. My daughter is getting married to her partner of 8 years in September of 24. We have been arguing over this, and she told me to post this here for opinions. For context, I'm paying for the whole wedding. She is pretty introverted and doesn't have a lot of friends she wants to invite. Her husband, on the other hand, is very extroverted and has a lot of people he would invite given the chance. I thought it would be fair, then, that the bride's side gets 30 invites and the groom's side gets 30 invites as we are on a budget. Since my daughter doesn't have a lot of people and there are spots on her side left over after family and friends, I have people I want to invite. Between my husband and I, we have 13 people to invite. To be honest, there was no leaving them out, one way or the other, as we have social obligations to invite them anyway. I feel as though, since we are paying for this and are hosting it, we should get a say in who comes regardless. My daughter has said that this is not how it normally works, and that she and her fiancé should have first priority in who comes, and the spot should be dedicated to her fiancé's friends before mine if there are limited seats. She also said that this is their wedding and not my class of 74 reunion. But he and his family are not financially contributing to this at all. It will reflect poorly on me if I don't invite my and my husband's people. She's refusing to see my side and says that her fiancé being limited in his guests and his parents only being allowed to invite 2 people because they aren't in a place to contribute is unfair. If I'm not allowed to throw this up to my standard, I do not want my name on it. They can do what they want, but I have half a mind to pull my money from the equation if they insist on not allowing who I want to be there. I told them they would have full control over everything else. It will still be their day. I just want my friends there to support the big day. Is that really so wrong? Am I really the a-hole? I'm starting to think I have a bridezilla and groomzilla on my hands. After seeing the replies, I would like to add some information. We are white and live in the U.S., so not of Asian culture. We have a lot of family, so the breakdown of my daughter's side is 14 family members, 3 of her friends, and 13 of mine. She says she doesn't have a problem with me inviting my friends. She has a problem being limited in her and her fiancé's friends. My social obligations to my friends are because I have known some of these people for 50-plus years, and I do not want to ruin friendships that strong. I was invited to their children's wedding, so why would they not be invited to my child's wedding? My son opted to not have one, so this will be my only opportunity. What do you guys think? Are they the a-hole? Story 4. Am I the a-hole for letting my child ride her pony to school? Here's what happened. I'm 36 years old, and my 7-year-old daughter asked if she could ride her pony to school last week. For context, we have a small paddock attached to our home where we keep 2 horses, one for me and one for my child. Every morning before school, my child gets all of her pony chores done before we leave, and we normally walk to school, which takes about 20 minutes. We live on the outskirts of a fairly populated city, where it's not uncommon to see horses occasionally, but we are by no means in a rural village. I agreed to let my daughter ride her pony to school because I thought it was a harmless, fun thing to do. And also it gave the pony some exercise as we had evening plans and wouldn't be riding that evening. We arrived at the school gates and, of course, gathered a little bit of a crowd, which wasn't a problem. The pony is very good and lapped up all the pats and strokes from kids. One girl came bounding over from the year above my daughter and started shouting at me, saying she wanted to ride. I politely told her that she couldn't because she didn't have a riding hat and she would have to learn on a safer horse. She immediately started hysterically crying and pleading with her mom, saying she wanted to ride. Her mom looked at me with disgust and said, "See, this is what happens when you have no self-awareness and bring a effing horse to a school," and stormed off, dragging her kid with her. I was a bit taken aback, but ignored her, sent my child to school, and walked the pony home. I was talking to my friend this weekend, and she said I was in fact the problem, and I was blatantly showing off and should have known that this would cause upset and problems. My response is I turn up to the school gates in jodhpurs and boots regularly, so everyone probably knows I have horses. Is that showing off too? All I wanted to do was let my daughter do something a bit silly and fun. Now I am really overthinking it, though, and almost feel nervous to do school drop-off tomorrow. So, am I the a-hole for letting my daughter ride her horse to school? I want to clear some things up. Firstly, I'm based in England. Secondly, the pony never went to school grounds. There's a small patch of grass about 30 meters from the main school gate, and we stood there so no child with allergies would have been subject to horse germs if they didn't deliberately come over to us. This also means that I don't feel like I should have run it by the school. And lastly, the pony is an ex-riding school pony. It has been surrounded by kids its whole life and used to do kids' birthday parties and everything. I know animals are unpredictable, but I was 99.999% sure that the pony would be fine and actually just appreciate the fuss of the tiny humans. He absolutely did. Are they the a-hole? Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe for more engaging Reddit stories.